The NFL draft is right around the corner, and in this series I'm going to look at some of the top prospects, starting with one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football in Mac Jones. Mac Jones was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and funny enough, his father played tennis at Florida State, so the drive to play sports was in their blood from the very beginning. Mac is one of 3 siblings, and funny enough, his brother Will played soccer at Mercer University, and his sister Sarah even played tennis at the College of Charleston. But although it seemed like sports like soccer and tennis were in his blood, Mac was destined for a different path from the very beginning, as he started his football journey at age 5 in Pop Warner. Although Mac played other sports, it was undeniable that he had a distinct love for football. So much so that his mother even talked about how she noticed Mac drawing up plays as a 5-year-old. Not only did Mac love football, but he was actually really good at it. And because his parents saw his talent early on, going into middle school, he was mentored by current NFL quarterback consultant Joe Dickinson, who was able to help develop Mac into an elite talent at such a young age. As he entered into his sophomore season in high school, Mac attended the Gain Sports Bus Tour, as he visited college after college, and through the tour he was able to earn a scholarship to the University of Kentucky. Although Mac originally committed to Kentucky, plans changed after he was approached by the coach of all coaches, Nick Saban, who decided to offer him a scholarship, and as most would, Mac accepted the opportunity and as a result became a Bama boy.
White people, white people, white people.
Mac redshirted his freshman season as he was able to develop, and although he was practically a field goal holder his sophomore year, he was able to get some playing time, and even had a 94-yard passing touchdown to Jalen Waddle, which in fact was the second longest pass in Alabama's history. But all this wasn't enough for Mac, as he really wanted to play, and although it was looking like another year as a backup, he was able to shine after coincidentally, out of all things, Tua's injury against Mississippi State. Although the situation was not ideal for Tua, it was able to give Mac a chance to show his talent, as he was able to pass for over 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns in 11 games. These stats seem great for 11 games, but they seem kinda low. But really it wasn't 11 games, and it was more like 4, as he only had 10 completions in 4 games that entire season. Although Bama lost to Auburn and had to settle for the Orange Bowl in 2019, they obliterated Michigan and at least ended on a high note. But going into the next season, Alabama became a completely different unit. Not only was Mac Jones playing phenomenally, but Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle for the games that he played, and Najee Harris all were playing at the highest level. And as a result of all this talent, the team was next to unstoppable. After a great regular season, Alabama was able to hang on against Florida to advance to the college football playoff and matched up against the Fighting Irish. From the get-go, Notre Dame didn't stand a chance, and the Irish lost 31-14. After advancing to the national championship, Devontae won the Heisman, and Alabama looked about as good as one team can be. And although Ohio State demolished Clemson, they just looked silly against the Crimson Tide, as they lost 52-24, and the Crimson Tide were yet again champions. Not only did Mac win a national championship, but throughout the season he passed for over 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns. And although he didn't win the Heisman, I really don't think that he even remotely cared, as he won a national championship and is now heading to the NFL as a top prospect. At 6'3" and 210 pounds, Mac has the typical build and talent of a model NFL quarterback. And although the league has become more and more run-oriented in terms of quarterback play, with players like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, I really don't think Mac should be worried at all, as quarterbacks like Brady and Breeze, and even Mahomes are still able to excel in the modern NFL without having to rely on the run. Mac is NFL ready and looks exactly what many NFL teams would picture a perfect quarterback to be, and as a result he will find a place in the league, and now it just comes down to how well he will play. Although it is really tough to predict how well college quarterbacks will adapt to the league, especially those from Alabama, Mac seems to have that X factor that allows him to work from outside the box and create plays, and as a result of all this, he would fit well on most NFL teams. Okay, so finding a quarterback like Mac would seem super easy, but it's kinda tricky, and although it would be super easy to compare him to Brady, or Breeze, or even Peyton Manning, I want to be honest, and so let's just get into this. You know what? I see Philip Rivers in Mac, and watching him throw the ball and maneuver throughout the pocket seems like a younger version of the gunslinger. Maybe it's just random, or maybe it's a sign, but as Philip is going to retire, Mac is making his way into the NFL. But nonetheless, the two play super similar, and although Philip has a little bit more height and weight on the young star, the two seem to share a common play style, and I'm sure Mac would be pleased with such a long career like Philip Rivers. But nonetheless, although people see Philip as someone who just can never play in the biggest games, he was a stellar talent, and undoubtedly he left an influence on the NFL that will never be forgotten. Now let's get to the fun part and put a letter to the young star. And this part is really tough to say the least, as Mac has only played a season and a half in the NCAA and has not even played in a single NFL game. But although Mac hasn't played a single game in the league, he's coming off of a national championship where he won by 4 touchdowns and passed for over 450 yards and 5 touchdowns. After playing in some of the biggest games, it seems like the big stages are not really going to affect the Bama boy as much as many of his peers. All of this in mind, and trying to predict how well he will apply to the NFL, I'll give him an A-. Now I know last week I just gave Kyle Pitts an A-, but I think the two are on a very similar level. And anyway, Mac seems NFL ready, and obviously he has room to grow. But I definitely see a bright future for Mac, and I think the sky's the limit for his potential. Yet again, this is a difficult decision, and at this point this is all speculation as to where he would go, and he could go to practically any team with a need at quarterback at any time. But the really interesting part of this draft class is the talent at quarterback. Whether it's Justin Fields, or Kyle Trask, or Trey Lance, or Zach Wilson, or the Beast and Trevor Lawrence, this class is just loaded. And although Mac is a very good talent, I don't see him going in the first round. And quite honestly, I see him getting selected in the middle of the second.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
There are some interesting teams like New England and Chicago, but a good fit for Mac I think would be in the Washington football team with the 51st pick. Washington seems like a team that would be able to get a talent like Mac in later rounds after getting a star, say, defensive player in the first. By the time that 51st pick comes around, Mac could potentially still be on the board, with all the quarterbacks I previously mentioned likely being ranked ahead of the Bama boy. This could be super far off, but it's just my own opinion, and I'd love it if you guys shared yours in the comments down below. But nonetheless, Mac Jones has shown that he can play on some of the biggest stages in all college football, and now he has his chance in the NFL, and the question is, does he have what it takes?
That way, wants to go deep, and Will Waddle has got it on the run, and he's gone. Jalen Waddle.
Thanks for watching the video, and it would be awesome if you could comment down below where you think Mac is heading off to. But anyways, see you guys soon, and peace out.